Hello, Sip and Bloom TV. Today you can find us at the Vine Room in Hopkins, where we will be doing a wine-inspired floral arrangement. To begin, let's have a little cheers. Remember that the Vine Room is offering curbside pickup on all of their wine bottles and cheese boards. All right, so to begin, we're going to lead with our focal point flower, which today is a gorgeous South American protea. So you'll notice it already has a few leaves at the very top of this, but we do want to break a few of these off. And why are we doing that? It's so that none of our leaves touch our water. So our vase is filled about halfway with water and a piece of Oasis. So Oasis is a super absorbent floral foam, and that's going to allow your flowers to stay put as soon as you place them in your arrangement. To cut our first protea, what we're gonna do is just move our vase to the edge of the table, allowing us to angle our flower, and we sort of want this to sit close to the vase. So I'm gonna cut it just about here. These are our Sip and Bloom brand floral scissors. You can pick these up at any of our pop-up events. All right, so now that we have our first piece, we're just gonna place that, so thinking that the Sip and Bloom logo is center on our vase, either to the left or to the right. I think it looks good, right to the right. And then place that right down into the Oasis foam. Now when you're using Oasis, you wanna be very deliberate with each stem, pushing it directly down into the Oasis. You don't wanna wiggle it around. And right away, I wanna grab one of our beautiful snapdragons that we have today in that gorgeous honey pink color. So this is gonna sit counterbalanced, a little bit lower in the opposite direction of our protea, allowing us to sort of anchor our arrangement. And now I want you to grab one of the beautiful roses we have today. So when you get a fresh rose, you're gonna wanna prep the rose before you place it in your vase. So what I do is I pull off all of the leaves, and you'll see on the outer shell of the rose, there's a few darker pieces. In a rose like this one, I wanna pull those right off of there. And what that's going to allow for is for the rose to open more fully during the lifespan of this arrangement. And I'm gonna cut this actually quite low, much lower than the protea, so that the very top of the flower sits right at the vase base. Isn't that gorgeous? So we have a little bit of a trifecta going here. And so now I want to use a few of our filler pieces, and we have an alternating tone of filler. We have some bright greens, and we have some darker burgundies. And I'm actually going to start with the burgundy, give it a nice low light. We're going to cut this in half so that we get two pieces out of this. I'm going to say right about here. So now you see, instead of one piece, we have two. So the first shorter piece is gonna go right down front, and that's gonna break up the bright red of our rose and the sort of burgundy pink color of our protea, and use the other taller piece to sort of sit back by the snapdragon. Now we wanna get a piece of our green and repeat the process, breaking it down so that it's a more manageable piece, and using this to just break up the elements of our arrangement. Now sometimes when you place a piece into the arrangement, this one is a perfect example, this feels a little too tall. So what you're gonna wanna do is very deliberately pull that directly out of there, cut it down just a bit, and then place it right back where you had it. Beautiful. So now we want to go ahead and get our medium-sized flowers. So today we have these hot pink carnations, and these will just act as little highlights to sort of sit between our larger elements, blending them in. Don't forget to put a few pieces a little lower, right towards the front of the arrangement. Isn't that gorgeous? Now I want to grab a snapdragon because I'm feeling like this arrangement needs a taller piece, something to sit up right around here. And so I'm going to keep it fairly tall, and it's going to angle backwards, but sort of sit right towards the center of our arrangement. Yeah, gorgeous. I'm noticing that we have a sort of barren space right here, and I want to use this as a really beautiful highlight for one of my favorite flowers, ranunculus. So like a tulip, the ranunculus stem is very soft, so you'll want to be gentle when you're placing this in the oasis. And we're going to keep it fairly tall. It's always good to start a little bit taller, and if it feels too tall, then we'll just tear it back. But you're going to want to work very gently and close to the oasis when you're placing this in your arrangement. That looks perfect. See how it's breaking up the two snapdragon elements? And we want to frame that in by using another great green. So that's just going to help land all these pieces together. Now for some of you, you chose to go rose forward instead of protea forward. So when you're putting this arrangement together, where I place the protea, you're simply going to swap that out for a rose. And it's going to be your larger rose. And what I want you to do, in order to really make that a bright focal point, you're just going to peel back the outer edge of your petals. And it's going to allow the face of the rose to appear much larger than the other roses in your arrangement. Now for those of you at home that are asking yourselves, should I do this to all of my roses? The answer is, it's up to you. I think it's really beautiful to have a lot of larger rose elements. I'm sort of gonna sit this one backwards a bit, keep it fairly tall. Gorgeous. Now, what I want you to do is turn your arrangement backwards and notice that we left a whole area of the arrangement empty. So this is where we're going to use some of our remaining flowers. I'm going to lead with a snapdragon since I have another snapdragon here. And this is sort of where your creative liberty gets to start. And that's just choosing some of your favorite blooms that are going to fill out the back of our arrangement. We always want our flower arrangements to be 360 degrees so that they can be placed anywhere in your home. I'm just going to repeat the process of folding back this beautiful rose. We prep the rose by pulling all of the greens off of it. And as before, I'm just going to place that nice and low, actually. Put this down just a bit. Nice and low towards the base of our vase. Now, why do we keep some of our flowers close to the vase? It's so that that outer ring of the vase gets a little muted, and so that it has a sort of soft gestural element. Always hiding our mechanics. If you can see the oasis, then pull out some of your stems and refresh, reset. Let's turn this around. Gorgeous. All right. So I have one more carnation here, and the carnation is just going to sit right next to the rose towards the back, sitting pretty there. I'll just take a second and find one more area to place some greens right towards the front of our arrangement, making sure that each of the elements are sort of playing off of each other a bit. And there you have it. A beautiful, wine-inspired arrangement to get your weekend started off on the right foot. Cheers!